in Kitui, Rural, Kachiriba, Rongai and Pokot South constituencies, and electoral wards in Nyaki West, in North Imenti constituency, and Koanjenga in Embakasi South constituency, resulted in voter suppression to the detriment of the petitioners, and especially in petition number 5 of 2022. It is common knowledge that IEBC postponed elections for various seats during the general elections of 9th August 2022 due to mix-up of ballot papers in the above-named electoral units. It is the combined case of the first and second petitioners that, in terms of Articles 136, 2A, 177, 1, and 181, as read with Article 1 of the Constitution, the chairperson of IEBC had no jurisdiction to postpone elections in those areas. That Section 55B of the Elections Act is inconsistent with the Constitution and therefore void to the extent that it purports to donate to IEBC power to postpone elections in the constituency, county, or ward, contrary to the Constitution, and the postponement undermined the conduct of free, fair, credible elections by depriving the voters an opportunity to vote for all the candidates on the dates stipulated by the Constitution. The petitioners further contend that the postponement of elections and the overall effect of suppressing voter turnouts in the electoral units in question, which was prejudicial to him. Both the first and third petitioners also believe that elections were deliberately postponed in Kakamega and Mombasa counties. It was arranged that these areas are considered to be first petitioner strongholds, and as such, the postponement of elections worked to his disadvantage and handed that benefit to the second respondents. These assertions were denied by IEBC and its chairperson. They, however, admitted that they experienced confusion with the printed ballot papers and explained that they only discovered the mix-up on the eve of the election when the ballot papers were being distributed to the polling stations. That as a practice, ballot papers can only be opened on the eve of the election day to avoid any mischief, and that by the time the mix-up was discovered, it was logistically impossible to print and replace the ballot papers in time for the elections. For this claim to succeed, it must be demonstrated first, IEBC had no authority in law to postpone the elections, and secondly, that the postponement was deliberate and calculated to suppress voter turnout so as to affect the result by reducing the petitioners' overall votes. We've looked at the provisions of Section 55B of the Elections Act, which provides for circumstances when elections can be postponed in a particular electoral unit, including in cases of emergency. We are therefore satisfied that on the basis of the foregoing provision, the third respondents and the requisite power to postpone election in the constituencies, counties, and wards in question. Concerning the allegation of voter suppression, we note that voter suppression is generally recognized as a political strategy which takes many forms, but whose practical effect is ultimately to reduce voting by deliberately discouraging or preventing targeted groups of people from exercising their right to vote and thereby to influence the outcome of an election. It therefore goes against the letter and the spirit of Article 38, which guarantees every citizen the right to make political choices based on universal suffrage. As regards this allegation, it has not been shown that by postponing elections in the named electoral units, IEBC acted in bad faith or was influenced by irrelevant factors and considerations. From the explanation tendered, we are satisfied that the postponement was occasioned by a genuine mistake, which in our view could have been avoided and the members and staff of IEBC been more diligent when they went to inspect the templates in Athens, Greece, where the printing of ballot papers was undertaken. In the absence of any empirical data, we cannot find a basis upon which to conclude, as a matter of fact or evidence, that the postponement affected voter turnout, as a consequence of which the first petitioner alone, as a presidential candidate, suffered disadvantage. At any rate, the nature of the ballot being an individual decision and secret, there may be other factors to which the turnout in the named units can be attributed. From the evidence on record, however, it appears to us that 2022 general election recorded one of the lowest turnouts since the introduction of multi-party political systems some 30 years ago. If there was a low voter turnout, it affected all the 6 categories of candidates, and its explanation, in our view, lies elsewhere, but certainly not a calculated suppression. On the other hand, in rebuttal to these claims, IEBC illustrated with examples to our satisfaction that there was no nexus between the postponement of elections and voter turnout in the affected units, far from the fact that this claim was undoubtedly just another red herring. It has nothing to do with the question under review, and accordingly we reject it and hold that there is no proof that the postponement resulted in voter suppression to the detriment of the first petitioner. Whether